My name is Dominic Wilhelm. I'm the Executive Director of the Global Trust Project, and we work with organizations and governments internationally to operationalize trustworthiness.
Why is that necessary?
Without trust, nothing works. That's true interpersonally, it's true with teams, it's true with organizations, institutions, and society. Without trust, we don't see each other. Without trust, we don't think straight. And without trust, we don't act straight. And if you can get trust into the room, things work better, exponentially so on occasion, and almost always a lot faster. So there's plenty of challenges that we need to solve for, and there's plenty of opportunities that are ripe for the taking. Without trust, we're not going to be able to engage either as fast as we need to and can.
Are people very resistant to use soft skills and to develop those skills?
I am so happy that you used the word soft skills. The reason being is the brain, there's nothing soft about the brain. It's complex and it's hardwired. It's hot and fleshy. It's the biggest organ in our body, and it's very real and it's very tangible. So two things. Firstly, with trust as a subject, with trust as a practice and a discipline, trust has been spoken of as an immaterial asset upon which all material success depends. So trust, if you can get into the room, has very tangible outcomes and very tangible value. To the other subjects I want to raise, given that sometimes people talk about trust as a soft skill or a soft thing, it really isn't, because if we observe trustworthiness in each other and the emotional state of trust emerges in this physical thing we call a brain, there's a correlation between that and the way in which we perceive, think, and act in the world. There's lots of science around this, and the outcomes are very, very real. So to my mind, there is very little, if anything, soft about trust. It's a very hard subject. I'll give you one great anecdote, or one great quote I use often. One of my clients is one of the largest automation and engineering companies in the world. And in a high-level dialogue, which we're going to be talking about later, one of the senior global leaders said, engineering school had it all wrong. They said that engineering was hard and soft skills are easy. Absolutely, but the other way around. If you want to engineer at scale, you need to work with people. In the absence of trust, that's incredibly difficult. Engineering-wise, yes, we're always learning, but compared to human skills, engineering is relatively easy.
Tell us about these high-level dialogues that you did a session at Africa's Green Economy Summit in February. How did that go? And you're going to do it as well at the Carbon Markets Africa Summit this year.
Okay, so what are high-level dialogues? How did it go to Ages early this year, and what's going on later in carbon markets in Saturn? Okay, so high-level dialogue is a convening of actors, concerned actors, under very specific protocols to engage what we call a burning question. A burning question is self-evidently true to a particular domain. In other words, you don't need to explain it to that domain. The high-level dialogue at Ages early this year, the burning question there was, how do we create trustworthy carbon markets? So when we convene people, the protocols under which we convene are firstly confidentiality. Everything's reported on afterwards transparently but not attributable. The second is non-solicitation. You're not permitted to sell anything to anyone in the room. The third is high regard. We hold each other in high regard no matter what. And there's several other protocols that we bring into the room. You get those into the room and trust enters the room with you. And when trust is in the room, we perceive the burning question and each other much better. We think much more clearly, and we also act much more decisively as well. So that's what a high-level dialogue is. With regards to what happened at Ages, it was hosted by the Acidium Group, and it was convened convened by us, and it was the high-level dialogue protocols that were in play. And as I said earlier, the burning question was, how do we create trustworthy markets? So there is for your viewers who might be interested, there is a freely available report out from that dialogue. We covered a number of different things. One of them is that the current value of carbon markets as of 2023 is about $950 billion US. Within the next 10 years, it's going to be worth $16 trillion. However, the full value chain of carbon markets from the inception of the carbon credit through to the retirement of the carbon credit is very fragmented. It's not transparent. Actors often have siloed mentalities, a siloed approach. So the full value chain needs to come together, and rapidly so. And of course, trust can play a key role in that. So key takeaway was fragmentation of the full value chain.
And you're going to be addressing a similar issue at the Carbon Market Summit?
Yes, absolutely. It'll be front and center. And the burning question, although we are yet to finalize it, because it's very important that the burning question is pre-validated by those who are going to be in the room, but it will certainly revolve around or involve asking the question, how do we create trustworthy carbon markets? Really to solve the challenges I mentioned earlier, and also take advantage of that $16 trillion market, which is growing very, very rapidly.
How receptive were people to engage us?
In the high-level dialogue, again, those protocols, you get the protocols into the room, people are receptive. So not everyone all the time, but we always survey in a lean fashion prior and after a dialogue. And the evidence is that people are very receptive. When they understand what the boundaries are, they understand what the rules of the game are, the rules of engagement are, people open up. They exercise vulnerability. And that's trust, by the way, the willingness to be vulnerable, or the willingness to exercise risk based on other people's behaviors. So when you know what the behaviors are on the route, you are more willing, more inclined to say, hey, I don't know how this works, or how do I take advantage of that, or shucks, I made a mistake, or please, I need help. And that's the core of communication, right? If we can't get that basic stuff right, that stuff that has got us this far the last several 100,000 years, then we're not going to be able to move forward in the way that we need to.